Handball presenting things and myself. So we've got Ciara Mahan here from the Clock Club in Kilkenny, Aisling O'Keefe from Ballydesmond in Cork, and the two Swinford County Mayo men, Ollie Cassidy and Chris Gavigan. Ollie, let's get you out of the way first, because I've been telling you, you're only allowed to talk for 25% of the time here.
Thanks.
That's good stuff. Okay, we're going to start off looking at the ladies' final, because we've 30 minutes, so we've a lot to pack in, so we'll get going straight away. We'll start with yourself, Ciara. I suppose the talking point of the ladies' final, with all due respect to Katrina Casey and how brilliant she is. Katrina has made so many finals and had such a decorated career so far. But Molly Dagg, 22 years of age, young Kildare player, and has come through a tough side of the draw as well. You're on that side yourself, and I mean, it was stacked with talent on that side. Molly has come through at 22. How big of an achievement is that for her?
I think it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, to get to an All-Ireland final is such an achievement in herself. The fact that she's got there at that age is fantastic as well. And, you know, she's been working hard over the years to get to that point as well. And, you know, she's had a fantastic run over, like, even from the Nationals, she was playing really good. You could see her form was really good. So, yeah, and she's had to overcome, Aoife in the last round there. So, again, that's a big win for her. And, yeah, it's great. It's a great achievement for her. Absolutely.
What is it about her game that has impressed you? I know she's very, very fit and determined.
Both of those qualities. I think that's the way I would describe Molly. Is she's incredibly a determined player, but also she's great strength. Her overhand is really powerful, and she goes for her shots. She's not afraid to kind of attack the ball and go for her shots. So I think she brings, I suppose, a unique style in that the power in her overhand, but also that she goes for her shots. But I think determined as well. She's a very determined player and fit around the court, moves well. So yeah, those would be the qualities for her.
Aisling, you've been competing now at the top end of senior handball, 40x20 and 60x30 for a good few seasons now. And I suppose in the 40x20, we've seen a lot of really good young players coming up, really, really talented young female players coming up. Like we saw Fiona Tully breaking through this year to our first final. Now we're seeing it in the big alley. Amy Brennan playing alongside Ciara, playing so well in the senior doubles. And now we're seeing Molly Dagg, 22 years of age, picking off some big scabs, making it to the senior final, where she's going to take on Katrina. So that has to be a good sign for the general health of the softball game, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely. And like, if you look at Molly, like Molly in 2022 was in the junior final. And then she, through the new system, she worked her way up to intermediate, won intermediate last year, and now is in the senior final. Like, it's so impressive, you know? Like, she's worked so hard to get there. And you can see that through her fitness, like, she's just so determined and so resilient, and she's really proven that. Like, I watched her play Aoife Holden in her quarterfinal game, and like, I mean, I thought Molly was like, it was 19-9 to Aoife Holden in the second game, and I thought, this is it, like, Aoife has it. And by God, Molly fought and dug it out and just proved how fit she was and pulled it out of the bag, and like really showed, you know, what a determined lady she is.
And how do you think the new system has bedded in the ladies? I suppose, like all systems, there's going to be some teething problems, but it's a bit of a culture shock in handball now, that where we're used to sort of, you earn your way up to a grade and you're there sort of forever, even if you're not fit for it after a number of cracks at it or whatever. But there's a lot of flux now in the ladies' grades. How do you feel that's going?
Like, it's like, I suppose really you're only good as your last game, basically, is kind of how it's working. So really, like, the grading game is how you start off. Like, so basically your grading game puts you in the right place. So that's kind of the whole idea of it. Like, it proves that Molly, I suppose, like, look, she was in the junior final in 2022. She won her grading game and then ended up playing intermediate. She won intermediate, and now she's in the senior final. So like, it just shows you, I suppose, Molly would still be in intermediate, I suppose, this year if this new system wasn't in place. So it's just, I suppose, about trying to get people playing at their own level, is the whole idea of the system. And
lads, you were on commentary duty in Croker last weekend, and you saw up close the semi-finals. Obviously Katrina had already played her semi-final against Quillenburg in midweek, but you saw Molly Dagg's semi-final victory over Aoife McCarthy. First time she'd beaten Aoife in the big alley, as far as I know. So what did you make of it? Were you impressed with it?
Very impressed. Like Ashley said there, she was in the junior final in 2022, and I was at that game, and she wasn't really a big court player at that time, and she was just getting into the big court, and she's improved leaps and bounds. And then she won the intermediate, and now she's in the senior final. And like Ashley said, I think she went to the tiebreaker, Ashley, and Aoife was 6-0 up, was she, or something? So
Yeah.
she's a never give up attitude, and she's the will to win, and she's fit and she's hungry. And it's very hard to beat hunger. You know, when you have someone coming at you that's young and fit and hungry, it's very hard to beat that.
And
Yeah,
Chris,
it was very, very impressive performance, because obviously Aoife's a seasoned campaigner. Really, you know, she's got well-rounded skills, especially in 60 by 30. Has big wins. She's obviously beaten Katrina before, so she's one of the few in the senior championship that has a win over Katrina say Martina over the last 10 years. So for Molly to go and really dominate the game against Aoife and just show that grit and determination every point, just reset every time. And yeah, it was a really impressive performance. I suppose the two senior finals kind of mirror each other, where you have a very dominant champion on one side, and then you've got a young up and coming hungry player that just is going out to enjoy themselves and try and take in the experience, and you know, something to build on both sides of the men's and the women's. It shows that there is a new coming wave of young players in both the men's and the women's championship, you know.
I'm interested to hear both Ciara and Aisling your take on Katrina. We're talking about dominant champions, like, and there's no more dominant and decorated player, I don't think, than Katrina Casey in all codes of handball. Ciara, you've been in the court with her as an opponent. Aisling, you've been in with her as a doubles partner, obviously. What's it like, Ciara, playing against Katrina Casey? Like, does she do anything different than other great players that you played against?
Katrina's just so impressive. I mean, she's a champion for a reason. Like, playing Katrina, she reads the game very well. She's such a command on the ball. Like, she knows where she's putting it, and she knows how to read the opponent and put it where they aren't or where they don't want to be. And I think her consistency is just it's unmatched, I think, in the women's game. I think she does not miss the ball, and she can control the game really well. And yeah, no, she's a top class player, and she's proven that time and time again. Just her consistency and her ability to read the game and to put the shots. She's just so skillful. It's lovely to watch Katrina play. She's a formidable opponent for sure.
Yeah, and in terms of her shot selection, are there any particular shots that you have found playing against Katrina where you go, that's one shot now that she's able to put me under pressure with?
Well, I think with Katrina in the 60 by 30, at least, she kind of is unusual again with her overhand. I think a lot of players will go with an underhand kind of approach, where she does quite more of an overhand as well with her underhand, which is quite an interesting shot because it puts you right at the back of the court. So I think it's a kind of a strong shot selection from Katrina as well. But she's she has a lot of shots. She's well able to pass the ball as well, which is also very
major asset that she has.
Yeah.
Actually, nobody knows Katrina's game better than yourself, obviously, because you've enjoyed so much success together over the years. But what always amazes me is the motivation to keep going. And same with yourself in the doubles. I know if I won a Mickey Mouse competition, that would do me for a few years. I just say, all right, I'm kind of, the belly is full here for another while. But the motivation of these top champions is to keep coming back and keep coming back. Where does it come from?
Well, I would say really, like, when I look at Katrina, like, Katrina just wants to be her best and play her best. And I suppose really she's always strived to, I suppose, improve and improve and improve. And you can see that, like, the standard of ladies handball has gone through the roof. It's absolutely incredible. Like, if you think of ladies handball 20 years ago versus now, it's just a different level. And like, that is due to the top players like Katrina, like, who literally have trained their heart out, and I suppose kind of, corrected all mistakes. Like Ciara has said, she's so consistent. She is so skillful. And it's due to all her dedication and time. And like, she loves playing. She loves traveling the world. She, it's her everything, and she loves it. And I think that's where the motivation is. Like, losing to Katrina is heartbreaking. She does not like to lose. It is heartbreaking. She's so competitive. But the motivation is there, I think, to just keep improving and be the best player that she can be.
So I suppose it is possible to construct a case for Molly going into this final, as you rightly said, Ollie, she's young, she's hungry, she's clearly willing to put it all on the line here, but she's playing Katrina Casey. So make the case for an upset here, whether you believe it or not. I'm interested to hear how can we make the case that Molly might get over the line here.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I'll tell you all about Katrina Casey. I played her down in Toomgraney in the 60x30 there about 2-3 weeks ago, and she nearly killed me. And I'd fancy myself as a good 60x30 player, you know. But it's like Kira said, like the overhands is just unbelievable. Like, and when I was playing her, she missed nothing. She put everything back up on the wall, and that's the way she plays. If you have a weakness, the longer the game goes on, she'll find it. She'll find the weakness. And there's no shot she hasn't seen before. So you can't invent a new shot for her and to catch her off guard. And as Ashley said, the consistency. And do you know what? Another thing I like about her, when she loses, she hates. She's like Paul Brady. When Paul loses, that motivates him so much that he's not going to lose the next. And Katrina's the exact same. And the hunger, whereas it's actually better than Paul's hunger. She doesn't seem to lose her appetite at all. As Ashley said, she loves traveling the world and she loves going around playing in every tournament she can. So look at. I hope it's a good game, but at the end of the day, Katrina Casey's she's the best of all time to ever play the game.
And did it take her long to find your weaknesses in Toomgraney, Ollie?
2 minutes.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
The first serve down the right.
Yeah, that's it.
Chris, make the case for Molly for me.
Like, yeah, I think you answered that perfectly. The wrong way around. But for Molly, she was actually killing great ball last weekend. So, and that the players that have beaten her have basically outkilled her. You know, her style and hitting the ball overhand and hitting the ball at shoulder height sometimes it doesn't flatten the ball out. But you see Martina letting the ball down knee high and flat killing from mid court. Molly has to almost take that approach, because if she gets into long drawn out rallies, Katrina doesn't miss. So she has to go and be really aggressive. She has to go and try and, utilize maybe the odd weak return or whatever. It's going to be really difficult. We all know that. But there might be an opportunity if you take the past into context where Martina was uber aggressive. That has to be Molly's approach. She has to get on the front foot, try and put the pressure on. The Kilkenny girls did that a couple of weeks ago and almost snagged the game. I know they were really close in the doubles final, as Kieran Ashling know, more than us sitting there watching it. But like that aggressiveness could be the winning feature for Molly. She has to take that approach.
So I'm not going to ask you to call it Ashling because I think it'd be unfair as a Cork woman, but or you can call it if you wish. Give us your prediction there, Kira, and then the same to you lads.
I think it's going to be a good game, and I think anything can happen on a day. And I think Molly has the potential. She's a very strong player, but I think I would have to side with Katrina given her track record and just, she's reigning champion going into this, so she would be the favorite, I think.
Yeah, fair. What do you think, fellas?
I'd be the same, but I think Molly might run her very close in one of the games. I think just Katrina's style, her consistency, her level-headedness, and that the amount of finals she's been in is just going to shine through. And I think I could see Molly putting in a big performance.
Yourself, Cass?
Like I said before, hunger is a great thing, and it's hard to beat the youth. And Molly's coming, but I don't think she's ready yet. And it's like Chris says, if Molly puts down the ball and takes her chances, like she can do, she'll put it up. She'll give her a bit of a game. But this is Katrina Casey we're talking about. So I don't think Molly, no, I don't. I think Katrina all the way, too straight.
Yeah, I think Molly Dag looks like a future senior champion now, but it's hard to win it on your first attempt. I was looking at the record books yesterday, and I like even Robbie McCarthy lost a couple of finals to Owen Kennedy before he got there, and then he won plenty. So So, okay, we'll move on to the men's final. Mention of Robbie McCarthy, but first of all, we're going to look at Diarmuid Mulcairns, who is in a unique position. He almost was in a doubly unique position because he almost got to play his brother in the All Ireland Senior Singles final, which would be absolutely extraordinary. But he's in a unique position because he plays an intermediate singles final on Sunday, so he could possibly, if he will be hoping, go into an intermediate All Ireland final as the All Ireland Senior Champion, which would be absolutely remarkable. But I'd say he'd be happy to come away with one win for the weekend. So let's talk about Diarmuid first, Aisling. Tell us about his game. What is it about Diarmuid Mulcairns that has propelled him into the senior final?
Oh, he's just so fit and athletic, and he will run all day long. Like, he'll keep going for every single shot, every ball. He gets most balls on the wall. Like, he's just, he'll be like, you wouldn't think he'd make the shot sometimes. You're like, how does he get there? Like, his speed, his agility, he's just so quick and so fast, and he will keep running all night long, no matter what. And you can just see that in him straight away.
And he's got shots though.
Oh, he does. No, he does. Like, even against Cormac Finn, he was killing the ball really well. He was going for his kill shot. Like, he's not afraid to shoot at all. Even his pass shots, like, he's well able to play. Like, so I really, really do think he will do his very best, and he will push Robbie as much as he can. And I think he'll have to play really aggressive against Robbie to try and beat him. Like, he's going to have to literally go for every single kill shot to try and really push Robbie to his limit.
Lads, you were there courtside last Saturday, and we saw Martin Mulcairns take a game off Robbie, go to a tiebreaker. Obviously, he's going to be giving advice to Diarmuid, and no better man for it. What could he have learned from that game, or what could Diarmuid have learned from that game between Robbie and Martin that he might take into this final now and further his chances?
After watching last weekend, you could see the semi-finals were almost a little bit lopsided. I think there may have been a little bit of a lack of belief from Cormac to really hang with Diarmuid after losing the Connacht final the Monday before, and having games back to back against the same opponent like that was a little bit tough on Cormac. And to be honest, both players would say that they performed way better in Roscommon in the first match, more so than in the senior semi-final. I think both players would look at the semi-final back and go, there was a few errors here and there. Maybe that's down to the pressure of the big occasion as well, like, you know. But if you look at, like, Diarmuid would have been watching Martin, and it's a free hit against Robbie. The expectations aren't that high, you know, compared to Martin going in there against Robbie. He's played him so much. He's beaten him in big games in the championship over the last couple of years. Not in the 60-by-30, but he has wins over Robbie, where Diarmuid hasn't got close to maybe that level. He's in that group of himself, Cormac Finn, Joe Devereaux, Keith Armstrong, that are kind of coming through into the 60-by-30 game. And, you know, we've got a new batch of players coming through at the moment. So Diarmuid's got almost, there's no pressure on him to go out there and perform on Saturday, but he's really consistent. He's great ability off both hands, and then he's just so balanced. His movement around the court is intelligent. He's really lightning quick on his feet. So he will cause problems for Robbie. But again, Robbie's such a dominant champion. He's been in every final since 2009. He's been dominating, especially the last 10 years, where he's really come to the fore. So it's a big task for Diarmuid. I'm sure he's also like, look, this is one game against Robbie on the Saturday with low expectations, going into a game on the Sunday where there's big expectations because he's been to intermediate finals in the doubles and singles over the last couple of years. So it's a big weekend for Diarmuid. But again, from speaking to him before and after the match, and, you know, talking to him around the place, he's made for it. And I think that spending the year in America has really kind of set him up for big games back to back, and he's in great condition for it as well. So yeah, it's an exciting weekend for Diarmuid.
Ollie, to use a phrase that you use on the commentary, Talon Leroy the most impressive thing I find with Mulcairns when I've seen him playing a couple of senior finals. He played a senior doubles in the small alley with Martin, and then the big alley with Martin, and he played really well in the big games. And he's he doesn't seem to shy away from it on the big occasion. So I think he has the temperament to really perform now in this final.
There's a big difference though between doubles and going against Robbie McCarthy. Like Robbie's just serious. He's different. As I say in Limerick, he's a different gravy. He's a serious athlete. And I was watching the semi-final last year, and it's the first time I've seen Martin getting tired. Martin is a machine. Like Martin never gets tired, you know. But Dermot is super fit. I played him in the Connacht Championship this year, and he blew me out. He just blew me away with the power. He's unbelievable.
And his
power.
ability to pick.
And he's so fast, yeah.
Oh,
like the year before,
sick.
I played him in the Connacht Championship, and I went 19-12 up on him.
Yeah.
And the improvement this year, it's like Molly Dagg. We talked about the youth and how quickly they can, you can't beat the youth for improvement. And, and Dermot is hungry as well, but no, he's up against, he's like, I think Robbie's class in the big, he's probably the best ever I seen in the big court. A lot of people are arguing with Duxie and Owen Kennedy, but I think he's the best of all time in the big court.
His
Yeah,
skill set.
you'd rate him ahead of Duxie and Owen Kennedy.
Yeah.
Big statement. We'll have to get a Kilkenny response to that. Kieran, obviously, I don't think I'm offending anyone by saying, coming from the home of the Big Alley there in Kilkenny, you would have seen a lot of good players. Where do you rate Robbie in terms of the great Big Alley players you have seen?
I mean, of course, Robbie has to be up there. I mean, he has dominated for the last number of years, and just watching him on the court, I mean, his shot selection, he's just so clever. And just, it is really lovely to watch him play. So, there's so many really good players that have come through the years, and I suppose they all have their unique way of playing as well. So I'm going to stay neutral on this one. But yeah, no, he's a class act to watch, to be fair.
What is it about Robbie, do you think, that makes him so good in the Big Alley? Obviously, he's brilliant in all codes, but
I think he's ruthless as well. I mean, he doesn't let people a chance to breathe on the court. I mean, they're under the pump from the very, very start. And I think, his shot selection is just top class. His power, where he places the ball, his movement on the court again. So he's all those elements. And I just think, he dominates the court. And I think he's a top class player.
Ashley, what about yourself? Do you rate Robbie as the best Big Alley player you've seen?
I think he is one of the best. I think Owen Kennedy was absolutely fantastic, and I loved watching Owen and Robbie play each other in finals. It was just superb play by both of them. So I would put Robbie and Owen and Duxie all kind of, as the top players in my opinion. But Robbie is just sensational to watch. He's effortless the way he moves around the court. The picks he was picking the last day, I don't know how he got them up. It was just insane. He is an absolutely fantastic player. He's one of the best Big Alley players. But I have to say, I loved watching Owen Kennedy play as well. So I'm not agreeing with Chris on this one. Or Ollie, sorry.
A secret Kennedy fan here. How do you go about beating them then, Ashley?
You have to play aggressive. The only way to beat Robbie McCarthy is go for your shots, kill off the ball, because Robbie is going to get there. He's going to make the ball. He's going to get to any shot you hit around the walls, which he proved in the semi-final. He was running, it looked like he wasn't even sweating, and he was getting to everything. So you'd have to play aggressive and go for your kill shots. Is really any chance you get, go for it, I think, is the only way to beat Robbie McCarthy.
So again, as you rightly said earlier, lads, we have a young, hungry, up-and-coming player, first senior final, playing against the dominant champion. Can we make the case that there's going to be an upset in this one? I think Robbie probably got the scare in the semi-final against Martin as well. So that's advantage Robbie. There's going to be no complacency there, I don't think. As much as it would be good for the game to see new champions coming through, not to hold anything against Robbie, because he's been a great champion and is a great champion, I'm personally finding it hard to see how Jeremy can get over the line this time in his first senior singles final.
Well, if anybody's been listening to the commentary, Martin needed to kill the ball when he got the chance, and he did that more so than last year. But Martin knows this, because I've talked to him after the game. Martin was playing Robbie Martin was playing 40 by 20 in the court there, And Robbie started messing then with him playing 40 by 20 as well. Like, you can't play 40 by 20 handball against Robbie. You have to take your chances and quench that ball. Just like Kira did in the doubles with Ashley and Katrina. Kira was smashing that ball, rolling it stone dead in the first game, wasn't she, Chris? She was murdering the ball. That's what Dermot has to do. If you rally with Katrina Casey or Robbie McCarthy, it's over. Forget about it. You have to take your chances and go for the kill. And Dermot is well able to kill the ball. He's two good hands and he's fit and he's great power. But like,
the one thing that I think holds Dermot back a little bit is the consistency of his serve. Like, with Robbie's probably the best ever returner serve player we've seen. Like, I've never seen someone go so consistent. Never gets flustered on any serve. But like, no player is perfect. You're gonna make mistakes eventually. Robbie's ability to return serve is legendary at this stage. But if you compare the two semifinals, Martin served brilliantly in that second game. It was just so hard to keep it up after that. And then Robbie really switched on the tiebreak to make sure that there was nothing left to chance. You know, he kept him in the backcourt, took his kill away, and went from there. If you look at the second semifinal, both Dermot and Cormac would be a little bit disappointed in the way that they served, in the way that they their consistency of the serve, you know, maybe getting 3 or 4 or 5 points in a row off the same serve, you know. So if Dermot's going to give himself a chance, he's got to find a serve that's going to put Robbie under some sort of pressure, and he's got to be aggressive. He's got to go for the kill early, similar to what Molly's approach has to be. Because again, if you rally with Robbie, he's going to put you everywhere. He has every shot, and if you don't have a serve that puts him under pressure, then you're a lamb to the slaughter almost.
Yeah, so it's a fair point. He has a complete mastery of all the shots. Okay, so are we unanimous in our predictions there that it's a Westmeath win in the senior singles for the men?
I'm afraid so. We're Connacht people. We'd obviously like a Connacht man to win, but you have to be realistic too. It's his first time in a senior final, and I could have bet him in the Connacht final.
Oh, come on. Come on now.
No.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda is right. It's Johnny Logan every year with me. What's it of the year? But no, he's young and do you know what? Another thing I need to ask you very quickly here, Paul. I don't think it's fair he has to play an intermediate final the next day. Or is that for a different day?
That might be one for a different day. That's a tricky one. Yeah, I suppose it wasn't envisaged that a player would.
Like, does he go flat out against Robbie, or does he spare himself?
I don't think he spares himself. Yeah. But I can see him going out and winning the intermediate final the day after. I think he's just taken a jump this year in the way that he's playing. I think this year he's spent, the way he's trained, you know, the conditioning work that he's done, especially in America, in a warmer climate in Texas, I think that's going to see the difference. And I think we're seeing the difference now in this championship.
Okay, before we wrap up, just a general word about the Big Alley, because obviously it's my favourite code personally. I know you lads love it. I know you love it, Ciara, coming from Clock. And Ashley, you told me before the senior doubles final that it's your favourite code of handball as well. And I get that from people all around the country, but yet the numbers playing the Big Alley, let's be honest here, are going down. The quality juveniles haven't been coming through the last few years. So just quickly, I'll ask you all, maybe for 30 seconds, is there anything that we should be doing in the Big Alley? Obviously, one wall is eating into that season a wee bit, but one wall is a great thing for handball as well. So we need to try and find room for everything. Can you think of anything more that we should be doing, or anything we're not doing well, that we can give the Big Alley a bit of a boost, Ashley?
I suppose, really, I suppose kind of like looking at schools, and I suppose kind of, you know, juvenile wise, I suppose it can be quite daunting to start in the Big Alley, you know, but I think I will never forget when I was like starting Big Alley, and like the biggest achievement was getting the ball past the line, and it was the best thing ever. So I kind of think we need to, I suppose, start introducing those players who play one wall and four walls, start like bringing them into 6x30 and showing them kind of, you know, how to play it. Because I feel like a lot of, I suppose, places in general are more one wall, four wall based. But I think if we bring them in and show them how to play, you know, they'll get that love for it and become addicted to it.
Ciara, same question to yourself.
Yeah, I suppose it's kind of. I think I'd like to see a longer season of it. I think it's very condensed, and I know for reasons that it has to be this year. But I think that it's giving it the airtime as well, which like as a focus. And as Aisling said, getting people in young and encouraging it. And I think probably, and this might be a case by case, but some of the older alleys probably need a little bit of restoration to make them kind of encouraging spaces for like juveniles to go into them. Some of the courts are quite old, but again, that's probably a bigger issue. But like I love 6 by 30. I think it's such a fun game to play, and I think when you can take away the fear of the size of the court and get people in, it can be it's such a fun game to play. And yeah, just thinking about, I suppose, how we encourage people across all the different age groups in terms of our kind of systems of the engaging in the games and the ranking systems and these kinds of things. We need to think probably how can we get those numbers in. So yeah, I think there's many things that we could probably think about doing. And I don't have all the answers right now, but yeah.
It's a difficult one. What do you think, lads? Any ideas?
I think Kieran Ashley have a good point there. The season has to be longer. I know with the Worlds coming up, it's short this time, but and this is probably for another day as well. They shouldn't be a tiebreaker in the third game to 11. That's just a mortal sin in the big court. It should be 3 games to 21, our traditional game. And what a good idea would be, as Kira mentioned, go around to all them outdoor alleys, and yourself and Chris there, Paul, could have a van and a broadcast and have a tournament. Have a tournament all summer. Go around to all alleys, Kira's alley, Ashley's alley, our alley, your alley, and have a tournament in each alley and bring the kids in and show them how to play the game and have a barbecue all summer long.
He's burnt us, Paul. He's burnt us.
No, I think that's what it needs. And like years ago, we used to do that, Chris. We used to have an outdoor tournament, and people came and they loved it. We had a barbecue outside, and it was brilliant. Like, but do that in every county or every and near a school or a river, the outdoor court there, so they're really accessible and it's free.
Yeah, you had me a barbecue there, Ollie. Go on, Chris.
I think you almost have to have a defined season. That there's 3 codes: 40 by 20, 60 by 30, one wall. They get 4 months each. You fit it in around. I know some of the tournaments will probably have to change, and we probably need more 60 by 30 just standalone club tournaments, but fixing the way that the calendar works. So 60 by 30 is our traditional game. The games go back 100 years, 150 years. This is our national sport in the 60 by 30. The one wall is an American game. 40 by 20 is an American game. We have to support what our traditional games are. And no one would disagree with that. If you play 40 by 22 or one wall, they just have to fix the way the seasons run.
Yeah, that's one of those tricky ones. And I have to say the CCC have a very difficult job. And it's something that, look, it's always evolving, and it's something that they will be hoping to tweak as the years go on. Listen, we ran over the time there, so we're not going to keep you any longer. Best of luck to all 4 players who are involved in the final at the weekend. We hope to see a couple of games. We might see some tiebreakers, which will be brilliant. We hope to see big numbers on the stream. So best of luck to the lads on commentary. Thanks very much to Ciara Mahan, Aisling O'Keefe, Chris Gavigan and Ollie Cassidy. And again, enjoy the handball on Saturday.